down. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard. USFL Week 8. So we're in the hot phase. 3 more weeks and we're done. We had a very impactful week. A lot of close games, a lot of one-score games. It was a good one for me in many regards. Hopefully, Smokey, how are you doing?
Oh man, I am better than Generals fans right now because it was a crazy week, and parity is definitely the name of the game in this league, as I mentioned last week, and everything was close, but the Generals happen to be on a really big slide downhill right now, and I think if they keep going with this 50-50 quarterback thing that Mike Riley's got going on, that we're going to see more of that. Maybe if they can settle in and just play DeAndre Johnson. I know he had some struggles earlier, but we'll get to them later. Either way, it was a great week, and we are no closer to really sorting out who the best teams are and who the worst teams are at this point, because I was looking over this. Every single team in the USFL is 2-2 in their own division right now.
Is that true? Wow.
Yes.
Every single one?
Yeah, in their own division. Yes,
Wow.
Every team is 2-2. That's parity. There is no doubt about it. That is absolutely parity. Even the teams with only 2 wins have those 2 wins in their divisions.
So the Generals.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the Generals, the Maulers, and you think about the Stallions sitting at 5-2. Their 2 losses are within their division. So everybody is 2-2. It's crazy.
I'm just thinking the Stallions, didn't they already lose no, they didn't. They lost to New Orleans and to, what was it, Houston?
Sounds about right. I'd have to go back and look through. You got them.
And they beat New Orleans and they beat Memphis. That's what it was. Okay. So it does make sense. It does come out right. Wow. Okay, that is impressive.
It definitely shows the parity in this league. Like,
yeah,
they got it figured out. I mean, whatever happened, if they wanted parity, that's exactly what they got, because all these teams are on an even playing field. Mm-hmm.
Exactly this. So how are our standings for the overall season looking?
Well, we didn't. We did well, but we didn't change our standings overall. We both got 3 correct last week, and looking over it, I had the Gamblers, you had the Showboats. Showboats are looking awesome right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the Panthers, you had the Generals. So
unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately we tied, and we are still 2 points apart. Brings the total to 20 for me and 22 for you.
Man, that Generals thing's a backbreaker. They might as well have won, and have been a great week. And after the Showboats game, I was so happy. Remember, I messaged you like about 2 seconds after the game ended with the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so happy the Boats won that one, because I made that pick, and it felt like exactly what I said was gonna come true, like the whole weekend, just perfect. Yeah. And I said I even predicted this week's power rankings last week, and I think pretty much to a T you could even still make that argument, but the Generals, man, that would have been my best weekend picking sports ever. All things considered, with all the takes I gave last week, if only the Generals won, that would have been perfect.
Oh yeah,
not quite.
I mean,
my bets went well.
I'm glad they didn't, but I do feel bad for the Generals because that team should be way better than they are right now.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Also, my most successful betting weekend, won $70, risking 10. 3-game parlay, got all of them right. That was a good one too. Let's get into week 8. Hopefully I can repeat in both of those regards. Starting off, first game, the Gamblers at the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Yeah, I also feel bad for the Maulers right now because at one point it looked like Ray Horton was going to get this thing turned around and they were going to actually make a run for the playoffs, and right now it's starting to slip away. No one is out of contention at this point, so they still have a chance, and the team did not look all that bad. But let's start with the Gamblers here. They did not look bad also. I know a lot of people are celebrating that loss because most people, or no, maybe not most people, but a lot of people were putting the Gamblers at number 1 in their power rankings. And here they are. They took that loss. They slide back down. It was a facade after all. But I still think this team is really good. My prediction that they would not do as well without Terry Wilson came true, because I don't believe in Kenji Bahar. I don't think this is like a championship game team if you're playing Kenji Bahar. Apparently Curtis Johnson doesn't believe in Terry Wilson, or he would have him in there, you would think. But from what I've seen on the field, Terry Wilson is the better quarterback. But for some reason, he just keeps staying with Kenji Bahar. Mark Thompson is basically the star of the team at this point with his 2 touchdowns. This is a running team, and they are doing really well at it. T.O. Redding, Josh Peterson, both stars at their positions. But on the other hand, Ray Horton, your Maulers, I do feel bad for you. Your special teams is the best point in this on this team. They are really good. Now, Madre London looked better. It's like they're trying to even out their run game here, but they don't have a run game, and that's the problem. They haven't had one. Oh, do you know what? Their top receiver was their fullback this week, which is amazing. Mason Stoke. This guy, he was a fullback, and that was their top receiver. So, obviously, outside of Matt Seibert, the tight end, they don't have much receiving options. I am going to say that the Gamblers get back on track and take this one on the road.
I will agree with your pick for the game. So, Gamblers to win at Pittsburgh, or I guess at Canton rather. Not because they've been particularly impressive. And by the way, you said you had the quarterback comparison, Wilson versus Kenji Bahar.
Yeah.
The stats would support what you're saying there, because Kenji Bahar has not been looking too convincing whenever he's been out there. The Gamblers, whenever they've won games because it was either not him playing. For example, when they played the Stallions, and Terry Wilson played phenomenal that game, or they've been running the ball, taking the air of the ball, and they've been playing defense and getting after the quarterback. They average like a bunch of sacks every single game. That all has kind of slowed down a little bit, along with, of course, a pretty below average, underwhelming performance by the quarterback. And given how bad Kenji Bahar's stat line looks, they had a chance until the very last play of the game to technically win the game against the Showboat. So you got to give credit at least to the Gamblers defense, the special teams, the running game, making plays, keeping them in. And talk about Thompson, obviously. The focal point of the offense, as long as Kenji Bahar is playing quarterback. I wonder if we're going to see, for the last 2 to 3 weeks, a change up there, if the alarm bells are going off in Houston. Because right now, Memphis has a tiebreaker on you. So right now, you're not making the playoffs. How do you adjust to that? Do you have to become more aggressive? So maybe we'll see a quarterback change? Either way, it doesn't really matter which quarterbacks, and I think they're a good enough team, high enough class to beat the Maulers, who are not really, they're kind of treading water, not really going anywhere. On a losing streak now, we thought they might be able to compete. When Troy Williams came in, we thought he had promise, but then they lost some tough games. Lost a close one here, even though it wasn't the offense's fault. They gave up 37 points. But I don't see them stopping the Gamblers. Gamblers are a better team than the Stars, so Gamblers to beat the Maulers. We have the Stars, the aforementioned Stars, at the Stallions. Rematch of the championship.
Oh, absolutely. The championship rematch here. The teams do look a lot different from that championship. We're going to see a lot of the same guys, but it wasn't Alex Magoo in the championship game last year. It was, I want to say DeAndre Johnson. It was Jamar Smith.
Jamar Smith started it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Case Cookus will be back, and he is not playing like he did last season, I'll tell you that. The team is winning, so I do like that. I like the direction the Stars are headed in right now. Matt Colburn is absolutely the star of the team at this point. We're starting to see that a lot of these teams are getting their run game dialed in, And some of these running backs are getting tons of work at this point in time. 2 touchdowns for Matt Colburn. Corey Coleman and Devin Gray, your number 1 receiver, number 1 and number 2 receivers. And you also have the tight end duo of Pro Wells and Ryan Izzo. That's looking great whenever Case Cookus does have the time to throw the ball. He had a 60% percentage last week. He went 18 for 30 with 235 yards. Maybe it's an improvement over what was happening, but this offensive line is definitely not getting better. On the other side, the Stallions, we'll talk about it later in the power rankings. They're definitely back up there at number 1, though. C.J. Marable. Mm-hmm. Yeah, C.J. Marable. That's right. Is not only the top running back on the team, but also the top receiver. The running game is actually, it seems like they're starting to get it together, but they are not depending on the running game at all, outside of Alex Magoo using his legs to get it done. Jace Sternberger was the number 2 receiver on the team at tight end, and he is still the star of this team, in my opinion. I want the Stars to win here. I really want them to win, but I can't be foolish. I am going to pick the Stallions to win at home.
See, we said it's the rematch from last year's championship, but here's what's fundamentally different about it, is that only one of these teams is going back to the championship this year. And I think we both know who that team is. Even though the Stars are suddenly back, very much back in the playoff race. In fact, probably going to make them more than likely going to make the playoffs. I don't know if this is any road to really falling out of the playoffs with given the Generals and the Maulers standing. But I guess it's not that unlikely that they do make it back, huh? Now all of a sudden, beat the Panthers and you're in. Man, the North is easy.
Yeah,
the North is. Maybe this is gonna be the rematch of the championship game. Who knows? But the Stallions are gonna make it. I have faith in that. I said last week they are going to right the wrongs, beat the Breakers. They lost to the Breakers to start the season. Obviously, it was not right. People got the power rankings confused for a while. The Stallions have been the best team in this league all along, the whole year, throughout all the injuries. Was a unfortunate loss at the start, but they put it right. They lead the division. Number 1 team in the league, MVP on the roster, top 2 running back, top 1 tight end, best quarterback by far. Stallions are the best team in the league, best professional football team that is not in the NFL. I will say it again, I'll say it every week, and they are going to beat the Stars. It was a great game against New Orleans. It was closer than I necessarily would have liked. But I think it was a team win for the Stallions. I really think it was a team win for the Stallions. Of course, Alex Magoo played phenomenally, but the running game clicked, the defense clicked. It was great. Quentin Poling stepped up big time. That was a linebacker stepping in for Scooby Wright, and he's looking like the best defensive player in the league the last 2 weeks. This time got 2 sacks on Bethel-Thompson, both of them very clutch as well. So the Stallions have a deep roster, and they're going to be the Stars. Win at home, 6-2, secure the playoffs, and get back to the championship game. Stallions over Stars. Showboats at the Generals.
Yeah, and I don't want it to happen, but it probably will. But on the other hand, the Showboats, Todd Haley has this team humming. I did not believe in him, especially after those first 3 games. They looked really bad, and now this is definitely the most improved team in the league. That defense is really good. For them to do what they did to the Gamblers' offense, that defense is clicking. Kareth White looks great. What do you call Cole Kelly? The USFL version of Josh Allen.
Light.
Yeah.
Light.
Well, he didn't run much in this game. Now, I was expecting him to because he has put some yards down with his feet, but he couldn't get anything in this game. But that may be, the Gamblers' defensive line coming through there. We'll see. Maybe he can put something together on the ground, but it doesn't matter. It's the Generals. The Generals are looking bad, and like I said earlier, they may win more if they just stick with DeAndre Johnson. I don't think they're winning anything with Kyle Lauletta. Darius Victor, much like every other team in the league, is the star at running back. He also had 4 receptions and a touchdown. I do like Alonzo Moore. I like Cam Eccles. All 3 of their tight ends only had 1 reception each, so I think you could do some improvement and get some more balls to the tight ends, but that's just my opinion. I will take the Showboats easily on the road here.
I'll also take the Showboats, and I want to say that, just to put it on record, this inconsistency from the Generals is completely self-inflicted, because I think it was a great example of what this sort of quarterback rotation, yoinking people back in and out, does to you if the scheme is not built around it. We've seen the Stallions do it last year. We've seen the Defenders do it in the XFL, both with great success. And it works if the scheme and the 2 players you're rotating is built around it. But if you're just plugging quarterbacks in and out for no reason, it doesn't work, because no one gets in a rhythm, no one builds the consistency. The Generals had the ball with 2 minutes remaining to go win the game, and despite Lauletta and Johnson having pretty good games, like they didn't really make a whole lot of mistakes. They went 3 and out, they went 4 and out in that because no one was in a rhythm. It just wasn't there. On the other hand, you had Jordan Love, who of course had a phenomenal game, maybe the best of the season. And fully earned that win, but it was in the Generals' hands to go win the game with a 2-minute drill, and the quarterback couldn't get it done because the quarterback was not in a rhythm. And I don't like this quarterback rotation system that doesn't have a purpose. We've seen it work in spring leagues when it's planned. There's a reason to do it. You have 2 distinct kind of weapons. They do different things. But and most importantly, they're both, or one of them at least, is a dual threat. One of them can run. It can work, but it needs to have a purpose. It doesn't have a purpose here. To me, it seems, to the General. So games like this, I believe if Kyle Lauletta starts the whole game and plays the whole game through, he was on great pace. I think he has a chance to make that drive, because he seemed, when he's clicking, the offense was clicking with him. They seemed unstoppable. They marched down the field, but if you don't have that rhythm and you're not really in that rhythm during last drive, it showed. So it's really self-inflicted. That was a back-breaking game as well, because this was probably the last chance for the Generals to really reach for the playoffs. Maybe not entirely, because the Panthers' record's also so bad. But if the Generals win this, they are second in the division. They are in a playoff spot now. They're really on the outside looking in, and it doesn't get any easier, because the Boats are maybe the hottest team in the league. Showboats, not disrespecting them anymore. Fully Showboats. And they're probably going to go to Canton and play the Generals and win. And with 2-6, you're sort of out of it as the Generals. So that's what I'm going to say. I said last week, Memphis may well be the second best team in the league behind the Stallions. And I think they're going to confirm that. They did confirm it last week, beating the Gamblers, and they're going to confirm it again this week by beating the Generals. We have finally the Panthers, the Breakers.
Well, much like you said about the quarterback rotation, yes, it does work with Jordan Ta'amu and De'Aaron King. But if you notice, De'Aaron King only comes in for a few gadget plays at the right time. These 50-50s never work, and I think the Panthers may have figured that out with, I think you said Jordan Love, like I have done a million times, but with Josh Love here. And
oh man, I did say Jordan Love, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Don't worry, I've done it so many times.
Damn.
But guess what? They brought Trey Quinn in for a gadget play. So maybe the wide receiver, Trey Quinn, which is my favorite slot receiver in this entire league, he might be the gadget guy they need to play the De'Aaron King role. So that'd be cool to see. Reggie Corbin looks great. Joe Walker had that 68-yard touchdown that looked phenomenal. And Josh Love is loving Marcus Baugh at tight end. I want to say that they're trending in the right direction, but we saw them take a nosedive for the past 4 games before last week. So it's kind of hard to get behind them. But on the other hand, the Breakers are on a downward spiral. It seems the defense still looks pretty good. The offense is in a super slump right now after going... They were number 1 in the power rankings, and they've taken a big slide, probably the biggest in the league. Only equal in opposite to the Showboats here. McLeod Bethel-Thompson is great. They learned that they can't put the entire game on Wes Hills, but when they were doing that, when he was the absolute workhorse of the team, they were winning. So maybe that's how you do it, or you're going to wear him out and it's just not going to work anyway. Johnny Dixon looks great. John Adams looks great. And Sage Surratt, the tight end, looks great. This is a tough pick because I want to believe that the Panthers are trending in the right direction and the Breakers are trending in the wrong direction, but I have made this mistake too many times. I've seen that games like this will be the get-right game for the good team that is in a slump, and it usually doesn't work out well for the bad team that just happens to be on a win streak. I'm going to have to take the Breakers at home and not risk it.
See, I'm incredibly torn on this game is because I do not know what to make of the Panthers. They can go from looking like the worst team in the league to a clear contender within a week. And I don't understand what the cause of this is. Like, usually it's clear, like some like internal nonsense going on, the generals with the quarterback rotation, key injuries or whatever, coaching change. I don't know what's causing this. It's the same quarterback. It's the same system. Yet one day they look like... Remember, 2 weeks ago we said the Panthers are number 8 in the power rankings. They were the worst team in the league. Started off 2-0, by the way. People had them at number 1. And now you look at this game last week and you think, wow, this is the best offense in the league. Because Josh Love is firing all cylinders. They have the deepest core skill positions in the USFL by far. And suddenly it looks great. Great duel for the running back. But then you know what they're capable of, also just dropping the ball. And the Breakers, to me, are sort of the opposite of that, in that they are rarely polarized. Or they're not polarized. They're rarely over the top, and they rarely really stink. If you look, most of their games have been close games, and they've consistently kind of played the same way, which comes out and will come out to more or less a record of 500 in the end. Beat the Stallions once, lost to the Stallions once. Bethel-Thompson's good, the running back's good. They're not insane, and they're certainly not bad. So it's difficult for me to make a pick here, but what I've learned, and I'm kind of deriving like the opposite to your insight from this, is I'm going to pick the more consistent team, because I don't want it. For me, taking the risk would mean picking the Panthers, because you really never know what you're going to get. Yeah, the Panthers at their best are going to win the game, but you don't know what Panthers you're going to see, and the Breakers at their normal level are more likely to win than to lose, in my opinion. So I will take the Breakers. I will take the surefire 21 points. I'm going to get 21 points and 1 turnover I'm going to get, as opposed to the high-flying or really down in the dumps Panthers. Maybe it's superstition, like, because we've seen the Panthers, they're coming off a great game, now they're gonna slump down again. Yeah. Maybe they smell blood in the water with the Maulers and Generals both losing badly to really secure the playoff spot in the North. But then the Breakers also have a reason to fight, because the playoffs are in danger. So I'll take the Breakers. This is our only disagreement.
Yeah. No, I picked the Breakers also. We agreed on all of them.
Oh, you did pick the Breakers. Oh, I thought you picked the Panthers.
No, I was thinking about it because that's what I was saying, is that I've seen these trends get broken so many times. You're like, well, the Panthers are on their way back up, right? And the Breakers are obviously going down a downward spiral. But usually when I think that, I'm like, yes, I'm going to pick the Panthers. And then the Breakers snap that streak because it's a get-right game, and then you end up losing a point. So I have got to take the Breakers.
There's going to be a lot of money, a lot of impulsive money on the Panthers.
Yeah, you would think.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this game is viewed as a pay game. So it's a home game for the Breakers, of course, only a de facto home game because it's not really in New Orleans. But they are 3-point favorites, which means it's pretty much they're saying it's even. Which is surprising to me. I assumed it would have been more, considering home field, it would have been 4 or 5 at least for the Breakers because they've been so much more consistent. But recency matters a lot. The last week matters more than the last 3 weeks combined, which matters again more than the entire season so far combined. People look at what Josh Love just did, what that offense just did, and the Breakers losing a close game, but in which they didn't look spectacular at all, didn't put much on tape that's like highlight worthy. And I think people want the Panthers. I will say one thing though, I'm only making one bet this week, and I'm once again asking you to explain this to me because I just simply don't understand these odds at all. Generals favored by 1.5 over Memphis.
No way. There is no way.
How does that come to be? Who makes this?
I mean, maybe they're just going off the parity, and technically it's a home game for the Generals. I have no idea why they think the Generals even have a shot in this game. I mean, it's probably going to be a one-score game, just like every other game that we've seen recently. And maybe it'll be close, but I don't know. I would think the Showboats definitely need to be favored, though. There's no doubt about it.
If this was like an actual real home game for the Generals, like say you played in the like Jets-Giants stadium, sold out with Generals fans, 60,000, every single one that exists, all 60,000.
Are there that
New
many?
Jersey Generals fans in existence? A raucous home crowd. I will still give at least 2 points in favor of the Showboats. Like it should still be Memphis -2, at least probably a field goal.
Memphis has the momentum. Like, that definitely means something.
They're just better too. It's not just the momentum. They're a better season.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't understand this. So I'm taking Memphis money line to win outright. I'm not bothering with 1.5 even. Just Showboats just to win. They're just gonna win the game more often than not. So I don't understand this.
Showboats have a much better defense. Running backs, I would definitely take the former Bears Kareth White over Darius Victor, although I like Darius Victor. Receivers, I mean, I give it to Vinny Papale and Derek Dillon for sure. Yeah,
the defense is underrated. Defense is underrated.
Their defense.
You're facing a rotation with 2 quarterbacks, and you have the best. Like the boats have the best turnover ratio in the league. By the way, very under the radar, but they're really going after the ball. And now you're facing 2 quarterbacks who will both not get into rhythm. Yeah, they both kind of look good and didn't make many mistakes, but they'll make mistakes. So I'm thinking, the over/under for interceptions for Memphis in this game is probably 2.5.
Oh yeah, I bet.
That's where I'd put the line at 1.5 or 2.5 probably.
I would like to see them leave DeAndre Johnson in, and we could just have a good dual threat quarterback battle in this game. That would be nice, but I'm sure Kyle Loletta is probably going to get 50% of the snaps here.
Oh, he played well, and he is an experienced spring league passing quarterback.
But he's not a winner. He's definitely got a lot of experience in these spring leagues. But he's never won the big one. He's never won much, really. Did he even go? He was in and out. Did he? Where was he at last year? Was it the Breakers?
I feel like it was. At with multiple. Wasn't he with the Generals at some point, or am I mistaking him for someone?
No, that was Luis Perez.
The Breaker. I think the Breakers. I seem to remember the Breakers for sure.
I want to say it was the Breakers. It was either him or Kyle Sloter. But either way, he's not won any huge championships for that matter. And I'm trying to remember if I've even seen him in the playoffs in any of these leagues. But he was
with the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Oh, it was the Maulers last year. That's right. Definitely didn't win anything.
I know.
Yeah, and it was Sloter that was with the Breakers last season.
That's what the other Kyle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah. Either way, man, I would just put DeAndre Johnson in and let him get into a rhythm, like you said.
I'll pick one. Just pick one and stick with him.
Yeah.
Is what I'd say. Especially if he's playing well. Why rotate when one of them is playing well?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it. Yeah. Let's do power rankings. Because I predicted the power rankings for this week last week, and I would like to go through the power rankings for this week. I'll even let you go. I'll even let you go first.
All right. I have dropped the Maulers all the way down to number 8. Now, I thought about putting the Generals here, and it's kind of neck and neck at this point because I've lost a lot of faith in the Generals. Thought they were going to be a top 4 team all season, but definitely not. Maulers at number 8, Generals at number 7. Now, the Panthers have come up a spot or two from where did I have them? Actually, I had them dead last at number 8 last week. So they've come up. They're moving on up. I don't know if they're going to get past the Breakers this week. So I have the Breakers at number 5. Finally, the Stars make it back into the top half at number 4. They just continue to win. Probably won't win this week against the Stallions. But they're still moving on up. And they're going to be the top of the Northern Division at this time. Then it's up to the top 3. I had to drop the Gamblers back down to number 3 after that loss. If they get a win here this week, it probably won't mean much as long as the Stallions and the Showboats win, which I expect them to be. Showboats at number 2, which they were at number 8, so that is the biggest mover this season. And I had to put your Stallions at number 1, so I know you are happy about that.
Things are right again. Best record in the league, number 1 in the power rankings, MVP on the roster, favorite to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
The USFL lands are looking bright again, and I'll tell you this, and I never thought I would say this, but I 100% agree with every single one of your power rankings. I got the exact same thing. Breakers at 5 is certainly ambitious, but considering they lost 3 in a row, and the Stars won 3 in a row, and they're at the same spot now, the same record now. I think the trend is clear enough to put the Stars ahead, which also means that the entire North is not 8 through 5 anymore, which I guess is also an improvement if you just look at the division rivalries. Gamblers still at 3. I think they lost, but they're probably the better team as compared to the Breakers. We'll see how that turns out. Breakers will have their hands full against the Panthers, and if that doesn't work out, they're in some real trouble. But yeah, entirely as predicted by me last week, Boats are the second best team in the South and the second best team in the league. Stallions, obviously, number 1, as it is meant to be, as it is supposed to be. The dynastic Birmingham Stallions on their way to repeat.
Back to back, huh?
Once again. Yep. Back to back.
I really want to go over these RJ Young power rankings with you,
Please. How is he justifying is he putting the Gamblers at 1 again, and does he justify it?
No, and as a matter of fact, he seems to have lost all faith in the Gamblers after 1 week. And that was a really close loss. And like I said, the Gamblers were good in that game. I don't understand. RJ, you're going to have to explain this to us. But Maulers at number 8, I agree. Generals at number 7, I agree. Panthers at number 6, I agree. Dropped the Gamblers all the way from number 1 to number 5 after a really close loss. Yes. Breakers coming in at number 4 after a loss. I believe he might have moved them up after a loss. No, actually, I think they stayed at number 4 because he had all the North teams 1 through 4 last week. Stars, he gained a little bit of faith in the Stars, jumped them all the way up to number 3. Now, number 1 and number 2. At number 2, he has the Stallions.
What a hater. That is a hater. That is nonsense. That is just garbage. What?
And the Showboats are at number 1.
Oh yeah.
It's starting to feel like he just refuses. And I'm not a fan of the Stallions by any means, but it sounds like he just refuses to put the Stallions at number 1, regardless.
Yeah, right.
I thought that was hilarious. Like to lose all faith in the Gamblers And still no Stallions at number 1. That's hilarious.
Wow. Yeah, that is, man. I don't even know what to say to that. Listen, the Showboats are good, but need I remind you, the Stallions beat those Showboats in their only game so far this season, 42-2. That is a 40-point difference. I know the Showboats have turned things around, but you cannot put them over the Stallions with the better record. Just beat the Breakers and have a 40-point differential on you in just a single game. And the MVP on their own? No.
Yeah. Come on. That's why I couldn't put the Showboats at number 1, because of that humongous blowout that the Stallions had over the Showboats earlier in the season. I think it's going to be closer during the rematch, of course, but it's kind of hard to not let the Stallions just be at number 1 after all that.
Man, that man has a personal grudge against the Stallions.
Seems like it.
Do you know what his favorite team is, by chance?
Not really in the USFL. I know he's a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh, yeah.
So, I want to say he was a fan of the Renegades. But I'm not sure about the USFL.
Of course, Cowboys, Renegades, yeah.
And Oklahoma fan, of course.
Oh, of course, it fits the profile. it for sure. Oh, my. Oh, man. What is the hated team in the USFL anyway? I don't really have, like, in the XFL it's clear I hate both the Dragons and the Defenders. Who's my hated team here? Maybe I guess it kind of should be the Breakers, but I don't want to, because they're like Bethel-Thompson. Both kind of like the Showboats and Gamblers too. I haven't had a reason to really hate any of them yet, I guess.
Well, me being a Stars fan, I should hate some of the North teams, but I actually like all 3 of the other North teams for some weird reason. I do not like the Breakers, though. Probably just because they're in New Orleans. That's probably the biggest reason.
That might be it. That might be it.
And even through last season and this season, even when they were on top, I look at the Breakers and say, there's nothing exciting about this team. Like, there's nothing to just catch you and pull you in. Now, the Stallions, I've never been a fan of a team from Alabama, that's for sure.
Of course, yeah.
But you have to respect the greatness. I mean, they are the best team in the league right now, so you have to respect that. But I think the Breakers is my hated team.
The Breakers. Yeah, maybe we can, maybe when it's all said and done, we can agree on the Breakers.
Yeah, maybe so.
We can. But first of all, dude, the Stallions at 2 after this. What else do they have to do? Did he have them at 2 the whole of last year as well when they were 8-0? Like I was on there too.
Oh, I would like to go back through his listings from last year, because we didn't really go through them a lot last year. But I would like to go back and see.
What do the Stallions have to do? What else they need to do to be number 1 on your list? I don't get
Try to read through his little synopsis to see if he gives any reason why he can't put them at number 1. But no, I mean, he gives some praise in here. He doesn't really give a solid reason.
Week 10. The Stallions play at Memphis. Probably for the 1 seed.
Yeah.
The way it's looking right now. If they win that game, I need this man to personally show up on the scoreboard and justify if he still has the Showboats at 1 and the Stallions at 2.
Yeah, definitely. Any
excuse goes out the window on that day. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this week, I would argue the Stallions have the objectively harder task of beating the Stars, whereas the Boats play the Generals. Mm-hmm. So I would say if they both win, that's an argument in favor of the Stallions again, because they beat the stronger opponent. That's how I would view it. Next week the Stallions play Houston, and the Showboats play, where are we at? The Breakers. Oh how fun. Okay, so next week is division playoff decision week, I guess. Because everyone's playing division rivals.
Now, what happens if the Gamblers win, the Showboats win, the Breakers win this week, and the Stallions lose to the Stars,
You think that's going to happen?
Every team in the South will have the same record.
That's again. Right. They'll all be 5-3.
No, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying, if it does, like, this division is once again all tied up.
That could happen. And then tiebreakers become interesting again, because suddenly I have no idea anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope it's points, because Stallions by far most points in the league.
Yeah, points for 195, points against 137. Yeah, by far the most in the league.
You've mentioned the division record is the same for all teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 2-2 for everyone.
2-2 for everyone. Wow.
Poor Maulers. Maulers have scored 113 points this season. And the Stallions are right at 200.
Yeah, that's rough. Oh, wow. That's what a good quarterback gives you.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the MVP right there.
Maybe
Even the
Maulers
announcer said it.
Yeah,
even the announcers during the Stallions game said, okay, if we had to vote for the MVP, it's Alex McGough's winning the MVP.
Yeah,
that is like as official of an endorsement as you can possibly get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't really doubt it at this point in time. I mean, there's been flashes from Josh Love, from McLeod Bethel-Thompson, Case Cookus in week 1, but after that it was all downhill. Cole Kelly's kind of out of the running at this point, in my opinion. Yeah. There's no competition anymore. Alex McGough is going to win this.
The M's for MVP, the C's for clutch, the other letters stand for other good adjectives that I will come up with later. The MVP of the USFL, absolutely. I said it for McCarron, and they snubbed him. They found a way to snub him somehow.
By Mr. XFL.
Luis Perez, who won the actual league, which is more important than the MVP award, by the way.
Bet the Generals are wishing they had Luis Perez right now.
Yes, for sure. I think quite a few teams are. Like half the teams in this league wish they had Luis Perez.
The Maulers, yes.
For sure. Maybe.
Oh, I would love to see a Luis Perez Alex McGough showdown in the championship.
Oh,
that would be awesome.
XFL USFL championship.
Yes, that would be awesome.
It would be awesome, though. I with all due respect, believe the Stallions would wipe the floor with any XFL team. At least the Renegade. I mean, I think so. I think it's pretty clear. Yeah, like if at full health, for sure. At full health, and even the way they are right now. Like Stallions defenders could be a cool matchup, but I think I think the Stallions beat any XFL team.
Yeah,
I think so.
I don't know. The Renegades were clicking at the end of the season.
Yeah, they were. It'd be great to see. Great to see. I would love to see it.
I think they could give them a fight. I think the Renegades could give the Stallions a fight. Now, people would probably rather see the Defenders versus the Stallions. But, I mean, if they're going to just run into a buzzsaw like they did in that championship game, I'd rather see the Renegades, personally.
If you're going to have, like, a spring bowl or something, spring bowl, spring Super Bowl, you got to take the winners. You can't take the highest best record team, winner of the league.
It'd be nice to do an all-star game, USFL versus XFL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that would almost be the NFL tryout game right there.
Yeah, they could have a Pro Bowl combined, because then you actually get enough people together too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Jay Sternberger is going to be in it. Trey Quinn. Oh, that'd be great.
These leagues have to find a way to do that, but it's going to be difficult because they're not only are the games on different networks, the leagues actually belong to different networks.
Yeah, and they don't like each other.
Yeah, exactly. They're always, of course, fighting for the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So who's going to show that game? Like, what network's going to show the game?
It would have to be a split deal, right? They would have to both get rights to it and both show it simultaneously.
Both show it, yeah.
If anybody can work out some kind of middle ground, I think The Rock could do that. I think he could go over to Fox and work something out with them. Raise the eyebrow, sign a few autographs.
But The Rock is involved with one of the leagues. He's not a negotiator. He can't be like a unbiased negotiator.
Oh, it's definitely not going to be unbiased, but I just thought maybe you could get the two heads together and work something out here.
Oh, and also, what rules would you use for the game? Because the leagues have very different rules. What's the catch? How do you kick off?
I would go with the XFL kickoff, wouldn't you?
I might go with the XFL kickoff. I'm not sure. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
It looks so weird. Like the USFL looks like a proper football kickoff, but the XFL the kickoff is more exciting.
Yeah, less dangerous at that also.
Less dangerous, yeah. It's difficult to say. Catch-wise, I'm going XFL. 1 foot, just college rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
Catch is a catch.
Yeah.
For sure. The NFL should do that too.
The point after would be a debate.
Point after, yes. Point after would be interesting because I do like the option to kick as the point after.
Yeah.
At least the option.
I prefer it. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about that in the NFL, that they want to get rid of kickers eventually. I'm like, why are we even calling it football at this point?
Because the ball's a foot long.
Yeah, if we take out the kickoff and the point after, we might as well get rid of the punt and just not call it football anymore.
Yeah, and then just the quarterback's just gonna punt it by hand.
Yeah.
Declare a punt at the start, yeah.
Yeah, you can either toss it downfield or go for fourth down.
I guess.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of getting rid of kickers myself, but a lot of people want to.
Yeah, in certain spots, I think the option should always be there. Like in the NFL, I think the NFL has the extra point figured out pretty well. Actually, I don't think not a lot needs to change. You can kick, you can go for 2, maybe the added on 3 if you want.
Yeah, I like 3-point option.
Could be interesting, or maybe I suggest like going for 1 from the 2-yard line and for like 2 from the 5. So like if you're not confident in your kicker or you think your kicker's lost, because like going from the 2-yard line is like a 75-80% chance to score. Maybe it's reasonably close enough to a kick. I don't know, but I like the option of kicking.
Yeah,
that would be one of the bigger challenges if those leagues ever wanted to combine or collaborate, is actually the rule book they would have to use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Different officiating. Can they fly a drone on the field to film?
Yeah, exactly.
Beer snake, yes or no?
Really, the cams would be a big point of discussion right there, because they both have their own camera setups, angles and whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah, it'd be difficult. Hopefully both teams will make it for a few more years to where that becomes a possibility and they're like big enough.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'd like that a lot. But do you have anything to add for this week, these games?
No, I think that's it for this week.
Then we will leave it here. Everyone can let us know your picks in the comments and your power rankings as well. Mr. Young, if you happen to watch this video by chance, I need a 15-page explanation on on your choice of the number 1 power ranking team, considering they played the Stallions before this very season, and if you don't remember how that went, please look it up and then tell me how these power rankings came to be. Thank you very much. I would be curious to know. Other than that, drop us a like. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check the scoreboard. Ha.